Hi everyone, it's Nicole here for Handmade Holiday 2018 with day 5 for my series this year. We are going to be making some little letterboard gift tags featuring the Stamp Market little letterboard dies, which were released during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and I absolutely love them. They are just fantastic dies that bring that look of letterboards that we all love from home decor into our card making and paper crafting. I'm even going to share a variation on this by incorporating some dies from Mama Elephant to make it look like Santa is holding the letterboard. You could easily recreate this with lots of different large style critters, and I'll talk a little bit more about that near the end of the video when we get to that part of the project. I have played around with the little letterboard before, and the letters tend to be kind of tricky to work with, and so to make my project go together faster, since time is generally limited when we are working on holiday type packaging and finishing up our holiday gift giving ideas and things, especially now at this point in December, I am putting stick-it adhesive on both sides of a piece of fun foam, running it through my die cutting machine. That just ensures that the adhesive is a nice, it adheres to the fun foam really nicely. Removing one side of the backing paper and adding a white piece of cardstock to that. And then we're going to die cut the letters from that little letterboard set from this white cardstock. This is going to leave us with dimensional letters to adhere to our letterboard. Not only is it very easy to keep track of your letters this way, but they're going to have a little bit of dimension, which I really love. Now the letterboard piece itself, this is a 3-piece die set. This red background that I just showed you has the little kind of corrugated lines on the front. Well, I'm flipping it over, and because I'm making this a gift tag, I want to find some sentiments that I can use on the back of this. This is going to be a great spot to write your to and from. If you want to add any additional embellishment, which you guys know me, I tend to like to go a little bit overboard maybe in my gift packaging type of projects. I am using the to and from, and also Handmade with Love and Extra Attention sentiment from the Made with Love stamp set. This was released last year and continues to be one of my favorite sets. It has a tag set that works with it. I absolutely love this. I will link to this video featuring this stamp set at the end of this one. And then I am stamping it with clear embossing ink, heat embossing with white embossing powder because I love red and white. And I'm even going to take the Merry Christmas greeting from the Stamp Market Merry Days stamp set and stamp that above that little text, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Now, if you use a powder tool like I do to stamp and emboss, make sure you wipe that away to get rid of that powder residue so the front of your letterboard or any project looks nice. I'm also die cutting the frame for the letterboard from smooth white cardstock, and I've die cut 2 per letterboard. This is a time where you could save a little bit of your time by only die cutting 1. I like my frame to be a little bit thicker, and so I went ahead and die cut mine twice, and I'm going to stack them one on top of another. What I love in the amazing attention to detail from the Stamp Market, each corner has a nice little score line, so it really does look like a frame. Very, very cute, very fun. I just can't get over this letterboard set. I absolutely love it. 1/8 inch score tape works perfect on the back of these. I'm going to stack them one on top of another. Now, before I actually add my letters, I'm making these into tags, and so I want to use a hole punch to punch a little hole in the top. You could also do the 2 corners. If you follow my Instagram feed, you'll see another idea for creating a tag and having 2 holes in the corners instead. I decided to mark that before I tried to hole punch it because otherwise sometimes I get the hole punch and I can't see where the middle is. So having my hole right there to begin with, that gives me a better idea of where to go with my letters once I start decorating my letterboard. This is a project that doesn't require tons of extra embellishment, but you definitely can if you want to. I think the letterboards themselves are super cute. Another idea I think it would be fun to commemorate like the year on these, and they could be used as ornaments if you wanted to, or other kind of decor. Even if you have like some stuffed decor or a Santa or something that you could hold the letterboard, I think that would be really fun too. So you can use them different ways throughout your home. I am pulling mine out, and then I am centering everything. A little tip when you're centering, start with your middle letter and work your way out on each side. That's going to center your phrase much, much better. The other big tip today, I'm using tweezers. The tweezers were a super lifesaver. You're going to see that in a little bit when I do the other letterboards. It makes pulling these out, because they are pretty small and the fun foam tends to like to hold on and stick a little bit, which in this case was one of the reasons I chose to use fun foam, because my letters didn't go scattering everywhere. They're right here in this sheet. I can keep this sheet, reuse any of the letters I'm not using today for another project, which you can definitely do that with just kind of loose letters as well. But I think it's just easy to keep track of them when they're in this kind of presentation. After I'm done, I'm going to thread through a little red and white baker's twine and knot that. I decided before I went ahead and knotted my baker's twine to cut 4 lengths all exactly the same, because I'm making 4 tags today. Now, one of the big things about my Handmade Holiday series is I try to share projects that can be created in, roughly an hour or so, for the most part. Not always, and I do try to tell you in the video or on the blog post when they can't be created in that time slot. This is one that definitely can, as long as you're not doing the kind of variation that I'm going to share with you a little bit later. In that case, it took me a little longer because I just had this idea and I was really excited about it, and I decided to go ahead and share it with you guys because I thought you might like it as well. And so that did take me a little bit extra time. I would say this probably took me 2 hours maybe. I didn't sit down and do it all at once. I got distracted in the middle and had to come back. But I think if you were just creating the letterboards and you had everything set up and die cut and ready to go, you could probably create these in an hour. Here is the Merry Christmas greeting, which I decided to add after I did that first initial letterboard. A lot of times when I create projects like this, I will do one from start to finish to see, do I like this? Did this work? And then I will mass produce the rest of them. And so that's kind of what I did here. I'm using the powder tool on the back, inking everything up with clear ink and then stamping it. By keeping it in the MISTI, you can stamp tons of these and then put them together at your leisure, which is fantastic. I really love that the back has such a nice finished look as well. Even with my other tag, which you're going to see here, I adjusted and moved the to and from down a little bit, but everything is just the same. Buffing away any of that powder residue so that they're nice bright red. Let's go ahead and put our other 2 letterboards together. I have already adhered the frames to the letterboard background. I'm punching the holes. I marked those with a little white pin so they were easy to see. And then I'm going to take my sheet and start building my sentiments. So pulling them out with tweezers actually ended up being kind of my preferred way to do this. And I kind of forgot that I needed to start with my middle letter. This one is going to read Slay All Day. You can always look at the internet, look at some of your stamp sets that you have. If you're looking for fun little play on words or just really fun sentiments to decorate your letterboards, try Pinterest, try your stamp sets, your holiday stamp sets that you have. Those are great places to find fun little greetings. These are fairly small, so I would suggest not doing a super long greeting, but you're going to see how much room I have with what I am putting here. I'm also even going to share a little idea here for the second or the last letterboard that I show you here, the plain letterboards. If you run out of letters and you only would need to die cut that group of alphabet one more time, and it's a letter like an I, which is what I needed, just go ahead and trim down one of those other letters that's not going to get used and save yourself from having to die cut this again. And I'll show you that here in just a second. But look at these tweezers. I found this the easiest way to adhere them because remember, we have fun foam that has stick-it adhesive on both sides and then the white cardstock on the very tippy top. So it's white cardstock, stick-it adhesive, fun foam, stick-it adhesive. What this does is it creates sticker alphabet letters, which to me was the easiest way to do this. Consider, I think, black glitter cardstock would be awesome as a topper. White glitter cardstock. Maybe do a black background and do red and white letters. I mean, the sky is the limit. Red and green. There's just so many great things you can do and ways to customize this. I know I've mentioned it all through my series. You can change the colors to work with your packaging. My packaging is red, black, white, and gray this year, so all of my projects, pardon me, very much match that decor, but just with a few simple color changes, you can customize them to fit yours very easily. Now, I really thought I kept the alphabet in here, but I trimmed down a letter K for that last tag, and I'll share that here in just a little bit. Here are the dies from the Mama Elephant Favor Bag Elf Santa add-on, and then for the mittens, which are those two glittery, kind of funny, wonky looking circles over there. I'm actually using, I think it's like the muzzle or the a face piece from the Favor Bag add-on for the dog add-on from Mama Elephant, but I thought it looked like mittens because I want it to look like Santa's peeking over the letterboard, holding onto the letterboard on the sides. I do not have like flesh colored face cardstock, and so I'm simply customizing his face with Copic markers. And I used the opening as a guide, and then I'm just going to simply color this in. And I left this part in because really it's probably the most time-consuming part of putting this together. The rest is simply adhering all the die cuts to make it look like Santa. I do think that coloring in the face is worth it. The dimension you get from, and shading and things like that, by using markers or colored pencils or whatever it might be, really makes a huge difference in his face. Don't forget his little nose. I did not do it today, but I do think it would be fun. This same set that makes Santa makes elves. So consider maybe you want to do all of your tags with Santa or elves holding the letterboards. Wouldn't that be adorable as well? I really I wish I'd had a little bit more time, but I was trying to keep this project a little bit shorter because I know I've shared a couple that are a little more time consuming this year for the series, and so I didn't. But I wanted to throw that out there in case you guys were interested in doing some of those or maybe doing some for next year, because I know a lot of you kind of bookmark these kind of things and work on them throughout the year so you have them ready for the next year. I adhered the cutout over my colored background, added the nose. Now, I like the version of Santa with some spectacles, so I die cut the little, it's the circle for the pom-pom on the hat, also works to make spectacles for the eyeglasses in this set, so I die cut those from vellum, and in order to attach them so they don't have that funky adhesive showing through, I'm running them through a Xyron sticker maker so that it gives a flat layer of adhesive all over the back of the vellum piece. And then I'm just adhering them on either side of the nose. I know it looks a little funny until I get the eyes in place, but I really think it adds a lot to this little Santa, those little spectacles there. And I'm just wiping away any little gunky pieces from the Xyron adhesive. I'm using a tool here to pick up my little die cut eyes. I die cut those from black cardstock, and I'm going to adhere them on either side of the spectacles. I'm gluing them down with Ranger Multi-Matte Medium. Now, I did make this into a tag. Another idea I want to throw out there for you guys, make these into cards. Pop the, if it's Santa and Elf, and really consider, there are so many dies you could use for this. Any of the favor bag add-ons from Mama Elephant would be adorable. There's pigs, cats, dogs, bunnies, gosh, bears, all kinds of things. How about the Simon Says Stamp big picture book dies? You could do those as well. So the sky is the limit. You could have all kinds of critters holding letterboards, and they could be used for any occasion or theme. I think that would be really fun as well, and use this as a card front. So I'm putting Nice List on this one. I kind of think it would be fun to do like an elf and have it say Naughty List, so you'd have both of them, and maybe do an oversized card front. I think these would be awesome in scrapbook page layouts. Maybe you have a Santa and an elf side by side, and or Santa and a reindeer, because I know there's a set that makes reindeer. So again, so many things you can do. One that says Nice List, one that says Naughty List, and then you have your family pictures and stuff around it or underneath, whatever it might be. Those tweezers saved me with this. It made gripping and adhering those little letters so easy. Okay, so the little piece here that I used for the mittens, I'm going to put just a little thin strip of 1/8 inch score tape down on my frame and then pop the little mitten in place. And I don't want them to be exactly equal. I think it looks a little bit more fun if they are a little wonky. And I like when they hang off a little bit because it gives that illusion that he's reaching around and holding on to it right in front of his face. I'm also going to be covering up half of his face really because I want it to just look like he's peeking over the edge. I'm gluing the hat down in place. That hat was created all from glitter cardstock. I do this a lot if I've got white on white. So we've got his white hair and beard, and then there's going to be the white trim on his hat. So I die cut the trim, the pom-pom, and his mittens from white glitter cardstock and his hat from red glitter. It makes them stand out a little bit even though they're both, either white or red. Now the back of this, because I'm making it into a tag, isn't very pretty looking. And you're going to see that here in a little bit, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to cover that up. And I'm using my tweezers to hold that down in place while the glue dries. Let's add some white highlights to the eyes and to the nose. That always dresses the face up just a little bit. We're going to die cut the head piece from smooth white cardstock, and then we're going to die cut all of the hat pieces again. Please remember when you're doing the hat to die cut it backwards because you're going to need to flip it, if that makes sense. I forgot and I had to die cut it twice, but you're going to want to put it back to back. So if you die cut it the right way, you can see, oh, that did not work. So die cut it backwards and then glue it back to back. By gluing that white headpiece to the back of the head of Santa, it hides my Copic marker bleed through from coloring, plus it gives a nice finished back to the tag. Again, I just am holding all the glue part, the liquid glue part together with my tweezers until that's all dry. And we'll finish with that little pom-pom so that the hat part looks nice. Now this is the tag and how I took it. I just moved the to and from down a little bit. I know I showed this, you saw the finished part of this a little bit ago. And I just moved it down so it would fit the back of this letterboard better. Pressing this down with that clear embossing ink, we're going to sprinkle it with white embossing powder just like we did before. Heat emboss. And then I did want to make this into a tag. That's why I went ahead and finished off the back with those extra pieces. If you were going to put it on a card front, you wouldn't need to do any of this here. but this just gives it a very clean, finished look. But because it's going to be a tag, I'm going to punch a hole in it. This also is me trimming down that letter K that I talked about to finish off my Merry and Bright letterboard. I needed another I. I did not want to die cut a whole nother alphabet just to get another letter I. The K does not get a whole lot of love, I think, in a lot of the holiday phrases, so I simply trimmed that down and made it into an I so I didn't have to die cut any more of the alphabets. The last thing we're going to do is just finish off our tags with that baker's twine that we already trimmed down earlier. So we've got Sleigh All Day, Merry and Bright, Santa is Coming, and Nice List. So let's find a spot to punch a hole, and I'm just going to do it in the center of Santa's hat. The glue is already all dry. That's going to be a nice secure place to thread through my baker's twine. And that is going to finish off my set of little letterboard gift tags. I hope you guys have enjoyed this project as much as I have enjoyed putting it together for you. The supplies I used to create these little letterboards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here are a couple more videos featuring the stamp market stamps and dies that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.